Okay, B, we are now starting now. You know my name? Hello? Hello? Are you hearing me? Okay, I'm Jerem Tim. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. Like I said, my name is Jerem Tipkulu, and these are my credentials. Okay, I'm very happy to take you through our first week on corporate finance. And as part of our first week business, we're going to go through what is called financial mathematics, uh, following the syllabus outline which you gave me. So we are going to go through step by step, and I hope in these 2 hours you'd benefit a lot. I'm also going to send you this handout so that you use it, as it also contains the assignments which I want you to do in just 3 days. Okay, so that you give me a mark and then give you the feedback. Is that loud and clear?
Yes, that's loud and clear.
It's fine. All right. Like I said, we're going to start on, to touch issues to do with time value of money, and financial mathematics is centered on those aspects. Remember the verse in the Bible that says that talks of a certain steward who was given money by his employer, and other stewards, when they were given the money, they started to invest the money, okay, and the money started to get some returns, this and that, so that when the master came, those guys were able to come to the master and say, hey master, we are having these things, we are having this, we have made so much money after you gave us just that small money, we are now at this level. Okay, but there was another steward who said, I know you are a bad employer, I couldn't invest anything, so I just take your money and leave me alone. Okay, there is that verse which I've put on the screen, that is Matthew 25 verse 27. I'm sure you know the story, isn't it?
Yes, I know the story.
Okay, so which means that even in the Bible, even Jesus was, interested in seeing people making money. All right, so when you get $1 today, you are a rich person than somebody who is going to get $1 tomorrow. Okay, that's the deal. That's the bottom line. All right. But why are we worried about the time value of money? I'm sure you're still seeing the screen.
Yes, I'm still seeing it.
Okay, let me just try to do this. All right. The concept of time value of money is centered on the fact that $1 today is worth more than $1 tomorrow. That's the main concept. Okay, why we are worried about this time value of money. The assumption is that if you have got your money today, you are more richer than somebody who has been promised to receive money tomorrow. Investors have time preference for money. This means that they will prefer to have their money today than in future. This is because money received today can be reinvested at a real interest to earn more money in the future. So if I have money today, all right, I'm better off than somebody who's going to have money maybe next week, because if I have got my money today, I can reinvest that money and get more money. And that's the belief in finance. Okay, more so, money expected in the future is likely to be eroded its purchasing power. You know what is happening to our RTGS currents every day. Okay, so if I just keep my money, if I have got my money today, okay, I can just do some math to ensure that it's either I can go into the vegetable market and buy some more vegetable and sell them to another market. Okay, that's the advantage of having money today. Or I can, I'm not encouraging you to do the black market way, but people are using their money that way to preserve their value. If I've got my money today, I can just make something out of it, like go to the market and change it and put it into some form where I think this one is a better safe, and I run away from the inflation that is going to come tomorrow. Okay. In addition to real interest and inflation premium, there's no substantial accuracy that expected incomes might materialize in the future. For example, people might say, hey, allow us to have your $10 today, allow us to have your money, so that will give you your $10 when it becomes $15. We'll give you $15 next week. There is no guarantee that those guys are going to give you back your $10. We call that one a default risk. Okay? They might fail to pay you the money. This is why when you go to the bank, they start to do some credit checks to see if you are in a position to be able to pay back their money. Then, the last point here is one may fail to convert his investments or claims into liquid cash at a fair and reasonable price. In this point, you may fail. Let's say you put your money. Remember when the RBZ announced that whatever balance you had in terms of a loan, it is now equivalent to one RTGS. Those, if you had invested in a bank and they said that they were going to give you 100,000 after 2 years, then along the way, the RBZ changed the rules and say those US dollars which you had put in your bank are now equivalent to RTGS dollars. You see, that one is not a default risk, but rather it is a liquidity risk. You may fail to convert those investments or that money into the liquid form which you want. You were expecting to receive in that the US dollar, but unfortunately you ended up receiving them in RTGS form. So that one is more of liquidity risk. Are we together?
Yes, I think it's well understood.
Okay, let's move on because we have got almost about 50 pages to cover. All right. Now, these are the objectives of the lecture. Okay. By the end of the lecture, you should be able to explain the mechanics of compounding. Okay, mechanics of compounding. How money grows over time when it is invested. This is the first objective. Then to determine the future or present value of a sum when there are at least 2 compounding periods per year. Okay, discuss the relationship between compounding future value and bringing money back to the present, that is present value. All right, so these are the main concepts. When we are talking of time value of money, we are worried about the future value or the present value. So we need to understand what or where those concepts are leading us to. Okay, and then we have to define an ordinary annuity. Define an ordinary annuity and calculate its compound or fair value or future value of an annuity. Differentiate between an ordinary annuity and an annuity due. You also have to do this thing. This is part of our work. How they differ. All right. Determine the future and present value of an annuity due. Calculate the annual percentage yield and effective annual rate of interest, and then explain how it differs from the nominal or stated interest rate. So these are our objectives. We hope to touch all the things, but I'm also going to send you the handout so that those areas which we would not have covered, you would just have to finish over, okay, using the handout. Are we together?
Yes, I think it's understood.
All right. The theory of future value and compounding. Remember, future value and compounding, they marry one another. Okay, as you have seen in our objective here, that in our objective we said that let me just use another pen. use this one. Okay, we say that we have to discuss the relationship between compounding, and we say it in bracket future value. You can see here, compounding and future value, they move hand in hand. Okay, and then also discounting, that is bringing back money to present value. This is associated with something called discounting. You will understand as we go through the lecture. All right, so what is future value? This refers to the amount of money an investment will grow to over some length of time at some given interest rate. So when we are talking of future value, we are saying how much is our money. Let's say today we've got $10. Then after 3 years, how much will this $10 grow to? If it becomes 13, then the future value of 10 is $13 in 3 years. So we are looking at the future amount realizable. Okay, we invested $10 today. Okay, how much are we going to get in 3 years? That's the future value. The amount we are going to get after 3 years, that's the future value. Okay, the future value technique uses compounding to find the future value of each cash flow at the end of the investment's life, and then sums these values to find the investment's future value. So in other words, we are saying that for us to move from 10 to 13, there has been some transactions going on. It's either we were receiving, maybe in year 1, we're receiving something like, let me just write a timeline here. Let's say this is 0, this is year 1, year 2, year 3. Okay, from here, from year 0, we had invested $10. Okay, we invested $10, but in by year 3, we are supposed to get something like $13. So some inflows could have occurred between this along the way. So for example, in year 1, we would have received $3,000. In year 2, we might have received $7,000, and then in year 3, we would have received $3,000. Okay, so the issue here is about the future value, but the main concept surrounding this movement is what is called compounding. Okay, that's compounding, and technically this compounding is the process of leaving your money and an accumulated interest in an investment for more than one period, thereby reinvesting the interest. So what will be happening is, when you put your 10,000 or your $10 in the bank, let me just say 10,000. Let's say you put 10,000 RTGS in the bank today, and the bank says we are going to pay you 5% every year. Then after year 1, your investment would have gained 10 multiplied by 1 plus 0.05%. So that's 10 multiplied by 1.05. multiplied by 1.05. So this becomes 105. If you use a calculator, you can just use a calculator. 10 multiplied by 1.05, how much do you get? 10 multiplied by 1.05, that's $10.50. Okay, it becomes $10.50. All right. So at end of the year, your money is now $10.50. But you say, I don't want to use my $10. Let it just stay in the bank. So when it stays in the bank, it starts again to get 5% more. That is the process of compounding. Okay, when we are compounding, we are different from just getting a simple interest. Simple interest is just constant. The interest will be just constant. Okay, if we are using simple interest, what it means is you are not compounding, but rather you are just getting 50% every year. But when you are compounding, let me just erase this. Okay, when we are using simple interest, we are saying you just get your 50 cents or 5% per year. It doesn't change. Okay, it's 5% on the principal, 5% multiplied by the principal. So the interest you are going to get every year, you're going to get 50%. I mean 50 cents, 50 cents, 50 cents, 50 cents. That's 5% of this $10 every year. Okay, so you're going to get a half cent every year, half cent, half cent, half cent, half cent. But when you are compounding, the first year you get your total amount becomes $10.50, and then you multiply this one by 5% again, you will see that your interest might be 0.55. It is increasing. So the interest there is being compounded. Are we together? Your interest will be compounded. So compounding the interest means earning interest on interest. So we call the result compound interest. Compound interest is earned on both the initial principal, original amount invested, and the interest reinvested from prior periods. So initially we were having $10. We compounded this one and it becomes $10.50. Then when we subjected it to compound interest, we multiplied $10.50 multiplied by 1.05, and it becomes like maybe 10.55. I'm not having a calculator. Okay, let me just use a pen that is visible. Maybe you're not seeing my pen.
11.
It becomes 11.
11.025.
Yes, it becomes 11.025, which is 11.03. So if you keep on doing that, you see that when you compound and compound and compound, it is increasing further. All right, that's the issue of compounding. All right, but we are going to use an example so that you understand what we mean in a practical sense. All right, but there is also an issue which we talked about, the present value. What is the present value? Present value is the current value of a future sum of money. Hello, are you saying something?
Oh, sorry. My daughter is out, so I think she's passing by.
All right.
We can continue.
All right. Present value is the current value. Okay, the current value of a future sum of money or stream of cash flows given a specified rate of return. When we are talking of specified rate of return, you have to pay attention to the question. You realize as we go with the studies that this specified rate of return is not only interest rates. You will discover that it might be the IRR, it might be the ARR, it might be the WACC. There are so many, okay? There are so many, but you just have to pay careful attention to what the examiner wants, okay? Yes. The present value technique uses discounting, okay? It uses discounting, while the future value technique uses compounding. So, compounding is looking forward, but discounting is coming back. Okay? Since in this technique, future cash flows are discounted at the discount rate, then the higher the discount rate, the lower the PV of the future cash flows. But what are we talking about when we are talking of the present value? We are saying, what is the value? Okay, what is the value you you are going to get, or you must, what is the amount of money you must have today, or you must put in your investment to get 1 million in 3 years? Or what is the value of 1 million in 3 years today? What is the value of, let's say, 1 million in 3 years today? So it depends on whether you want to deposit money into the bank, or you want to get a payment somewhere. Okay, you're going to receive a payment somewhere, or you want to make a payment somewhere today. So they are saying, if you have to receive 1 million in 3 years, how much must you invest today? That's the present value. How much is that 3 million which you are going to receive in 3 years today? How much must you then invest today? Are we together?
Yes, I understand.
All right. Okay. Let's move. We'll go through some figures. All right. Future value versus present value. Suppose a firm has an opportunity to spend 14,000 today on some investment that will produce 18,000 spread out over the next 5 years as follows: 3, 5, 4, 3, 3. These are the inflows you are going to get over the 5-year period, and they give us a total of 18,000. The total is just as this one, is 18,000. Okay, if you add the figures, I'm sure here is 8, 12, 15, 18. Okay, you're going to get 18,000 after 5 years in total. All right, but the question is, you are going to be asked as a finance manager, shall we then take this investment? Shall we commit the company's resources into this investment? It might seem that the obvious answer is yes, because obviously, if we are going to get those cash flows, then the amount we are going to get is 18,000, which is larger than 14, which is larger than the investment today. So it seems lucrative. It seems we should continue. We should just get to the investment. But remember, though, that the value of the dollars the firm receives in the future is less than the value of the dollars they are going to spend today. Therefore, it is not clear, because remember, we put our money into the bank and wait, let's say, to receive maybe annual inflows, but maybe after 1 year things would have changed. Okay, we could have maybe ventured into a war with the DRC or with Zambia, and something might happen along the way, and it is going to be something else. Okay, so using this the time value of money analysis, two questions can be asked here, or are relevant. What amount of money in the future is equivalent to $14,000 today? What amount in the future is equivalent to 14,000 today? So after 5 years, are we going to get more than 14,000? That's a relevant question to be asked when we are doing future value analysis. Okay, when we are using the future value technique, we have to worry about if we put our 14,000 today into the bank, how much are we going to receive in 5 years in total? Are we going to receive 18,000? Are we going to receive 13,000? Those are the questions we'll be asking ourselves. But if we are using the present value technique, a question like, what amount today is equivalent to 18,000 paid out over the next 5 years as outlined above? So you can see that those guys who are using the present value technique are more worried about in actual fact, they are very practical in the sense that uh, they would want to know those future cash flows. Then, after knowing those future cash flows, they then discount them. They bring those future cash flows to the value today so that we know exactly how much we have to invest. They do not just invest without their eyes open. This is why, in practice, the present value technique is the most used technique over the future value one. Are we together? They started to know the total amount, which is 18,000. We are going to get 18,000, but we have to discount this using certain discount rates. Like I said, there might be the IRR, there might be um, the ordinary interest rate, okay, or other form of discounting. Let's say the cost of capital or cost of equity in a wholly non-geared company. A non-geared firm can just use the cost of its equity to discount the value of the investment. Are we together? So as you do as we go deeper into this financial management or corporate finance discipline, please do not stick your mind on the assumption that when you see the word rate simply means interest rate. No, it doesn't work like that. It might refer to the weighted average cost of capital, it might refer to the cost of equity, etc. But the examiner is going to lead you. Okay, let's move on. So there is that diagram. It's very important, and just have to understand it. This is future value. Future value is looking forward. Okay, we are just worried about how much are we going to receive in the future. Is it going to be more than our 14,000 which we have invested today? Is it going to be more than 14,000? But the present value technicians, they are worried about what we must put into the investment for us to receive such huge outflows. Are we together? So you can get more from this. I've put this book for these diagrams and further reading. Okay, you may refer to that one. This is just a depiction of what we've just discussed so far. That when we are talking of present value, we are worried about, we are using discounting. We are bringing back the cash flows. Okay, but when we are using compounding, sorry, when we are using compounding, we are going this way. Okay, let's move. Any questions so far? Any questions?
I think so far it's clear.
Okay, then we have got this question. I've talked about it, but shall we use either the fair value technique or the present value technique? Because in your exam, the examiner might just go too pedantic and say, hey, which method shall be used by finance managers? You must tell the examiners that all the methods are valid. However, in practice, when making investment decisions, managers usually adopt the present value approach. Why do they do this? Because it is more reflective of the need to reduce business risk. Okay? How? Because managers usually, when they are using the present value, they are put to task to know the to know beforehand the reasonably expected total inflows before they put the company's resources at risk. Okay, because they know in total the future cash flows. Okay, they know those future cash flows. They know them. They know. They then know how much to be invested, how to invest, how much to invest. That's the advantage of the present value. Okay, we are told that you are going to get 1 million in 3 years, but we then have to discount that 1 million to know how much it is worth today, so that we know whether to continue with the investment or not. Are we together?
Yes, we are.
All right. These ones is just some theoretical aspect about the patterns of cash flows. Okay, we have a situation where we have got a single amount cash flow, where we've got a lump sum amount either currently held or expected at some future date. Examples include 1,000 today and 650 to be received at the end of 10 years. Okay, so for example, you might enter into some contract where you get you receive 1,000 today, and then by after 10 years you then have to receive 650. But you as the finance manager just have to evaluate the essence or the advantages or benefit of undergoing or getting through such type of transaction. We also have got what is called an annuity, which is a level periodic stream of cash flow. Okay, for our purposes, we work primarily with annual cash flows. For example, examples include either paying out or receiving $800 at the end of each year of each of the next 7 years. For example, we are having year one. Year one. Which let me just find a place here. Okay, we are having this table. Years, cash flow. We've got year one, year two, year three, year four, year 5, year 6, year 7. Okay, so each year you are receiving just flat 800, 800, 800. This is an annuity. Okay, are we together? Up to year 7, you'll be receiving. So you need to then add up all these values and get the total amount, and then you have to discount it. Okay, you have to discount to get the present value of the annuity. Are we together? Then we have got what is called mixed stream cash flows. Mixed stream cash flow, where the cash flow is not actually an annuity. Okay, it is a stream of unequal periodic cash flows that reflect no particular pattern. For example, just look overleaf here. We've got this. This is an example of mixed stream cash flows. If we look at A, cash flow stream A here, you can see that the inflows here, there's 20, there's 50, there's 100, there's 75, there's 90. Okay, they are uneven and they do not follow any known pattern. Okay, so they are just a mixed batch. Even if you look at B here, this is also an example of a mixed stream cash flow. There is both in outflows, the negative, there is this one, the positive, these are inflows, and then there is an outflow. That's a mixed stream of cash flow. So just appreciate what we mean when you're talking of cash flow patterns. All right. How do we compute the future value now? We are now into the mathematical component. The future value is the sum of the present value and interest. So we are saying future value is the sum of summation okay, of the PV and interest. So technically, this brings us to PV, okay? That's the sum. When you're talking of the sum, that's PV plus interest. All right? Are we together? Are we together? Okay. So I'm sure you're used to this, the basic equation, because by the end of the day, we are going to compound the interest. Okay? We are going to compound the interest. So we are going to use this particular equation that has got the compounding element in it. Okay? Where we are saying that R, this R is the rate of interest. Okay? Rate of interest. And I said, sometimes it is not the ordinary interest we know. Okay? But don't worry, for now, let us consider it as just interest. So future value is equal to P in bracket 1 plus R to the power N. This is to the power N. Don't be confused and say, hey, you was writing something else. Okay? This is to the power N. N is the number of compounding periods. Please note that the word period not only represents a year, but it can represent a year, a half year, a quarter, a month, a week, a day, an hour, a minute, or a second. Are we together? 1 plus R to the power N is the compounding factor or the future value interest factor for given compound period N at a given interest rate, which can be shortened FIV. That is future value interest factor, R percentage, N years. All right, so this 1 plus R to the power N can be also referred to as the compounding factor. Okay, it is the factor that is compounding this P. And what is P? P is the
present value.
Yes, it is the present value. But sometimes, if you just only say it is present value, you may end up being confused. Sometimes it is also called the initial principal, the initial amount invested. Are we together? Because in the exam, the examiner might avoid using the word present value, and you'll be like, "Hey, what are they asking now?" They're just asking about the initial principal. Are we together? That's good. Let's move on. There is that example there. Stella places 800 in a savings account, paying 6% interest, compounded annually. She wants to know how much money will be in the account at the end of 5 years. And we know our equation FV is equal to P1 plus R to the power N. Is that so? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Great. Okay, so we just have, when you go into that exam room, you just have to have these formulas at the back of your head. Okay, they should be cast in your heart. They mustn't be stolen away. All right, so you just have to, when you know the formula, you then have just to slot in the figures. So our PV is 800, okay, 800 multiply by 1 plus R, and our R is 6%, so that's 0.06. You close your bracket, and to the power n. But now, you have to know, she wants to know how much money she will be, interest is compounded annually, so your job is going to be very easy. If interest is going to be compounded annually, then your job is going to be very, very easy. All right, so you just have to pick the figure as it is and just have to say to the power 5. And then you do your calculations with your calculator, and I'm sure you have to get 107058. Okay, but what if interest is being compounded twice a year? Hello?
Yes, I can do you. Let me just calculate.
Yes, do find out what will be the interest if the compounding is being done twice a year or half yearly.
So I think it will come to 899.
How did you do that? Tell me the steps.
It's 800.
Okay. What is the value of P in your formula?
Which is P, then brackets 1 plus 0.06 brackets
To the power what?
2.
Or to the power 2. Okay?
It's now 2 years instead of 5 years. If I got you right.
Yes. But what happens now to?
So, yeah.
But what about to our ARA? What happens to the ARA?
Our RR remains. Is it not 6%?
Yeah, our ARA is 6%. Yes, I get you. But won't this ARA require some adjustment? Hello?
Sorry, you are breaking.
I'm saying
Yes,
won't.
you
I'm bringing something here. Okay? Won't this ARA require some adjustment?
Yeah, so probably I'm lost there.
Okay, all right. We'll cover that. There's actually a particular example for that. All right, there is a particular example for that. I'm just bringing something so that your attention will be live and well. Okay, there is a particular example for that. We'll cover it. If we don't cover it, then you just have to raise your hand and say, "Hey, man, what happens to that error?" Okay. Okay. Compounding and discounting revisited. It is important to realize that the fair value equation defines both compounding and discounting as reverse processes to each other. So when we are talking of compounding, we are referring to this guy here. Future value is equal to present value 1 plus r to the power n. But when we are talking of present value, we are referring to this guy. So this is just making present value subject to the formula. Okay, here it's just the same. This is the same equation that has been, played with. And you guys in finance, you know how to do these derivations and so forth. Okay. Hello. Yes, we are saying that this equation here, the PV equation, is just has been driven from the FV equation. So there are no other variables that have come. It's just the same equation that has been dismantled. Okay. All right. While it's compounding makes future value the subject of the formula, discounting makes present value subject of the formula. All right. Then let us go to the issue of frequency of compounding. Frequency of compounding. This is why I said there is a particular example, so don't worry. Don't worry. Okay. All right. Suppose you invest 20,000 in an account that pays 20% interest, compounded monthly. In this case now, it's now monthly. How much do you have in the account at the end of 5 years? So we are still using our future value equation, but you can see that there is now something that has happened to it. You can see it, isn't it?
Yes, I can see.
Okay, so something has happened to our equation. So we invested 20,000, all right, and our R was 0.12. Okay, but we are told that this the interest is being compounded monthly. In a year, how many months do we have?
12.
We have got 12. So this is why you see here, this 12, the 212, the other one, 0.12, is not related to 12 here. They are different. This one is for the monthly effect. Monthly. Okay? So we have to divide it by 12. Because in a year, we've got 12 months. But on top here, on top, we have got our n, that is 5. N was 5, okay? But we have to multiply by the number of the compounding. In this case, we have got 12 months in a year. So we have to multiply by 12. So you can see that from our previous example there is much work to be done. Are we together? So this is why we are having...
Yes, we are.
Yes. So we are going to have to the power 60 here, because n is now becoming 60. From 5, it becomes 60. So what is our nx in the previous example? Let us go back using this particular formula. Let us now attend to our previous example there. If we come back to this, we are saying FV now is equal to P plus 1 over Rx to the power nx. And I said this particular interest is being compounded half yearly. Half yearly. So we are having how many halves in a year? We are having 2 halves. So it becomes P is equal to 800 plus 1 plus R, which is equal to 0.06 divided by 2. Okay, close bracket. Our n is 5 years. Remember, 5 multiplied by 2. So 800 in bracket 1 plus 0.02 0.06 over 2 becomes 0.03. Excuse me, I just want to take a call. Yes, Mama. Hello? Yes. Correct. Okay. it's okay. It's okay. Looks okay. But you only got bottom of it. Okay, yeah. One roll here. One roll. Finish. Okay. Just one. Yeah, just one. Hello, boss. Hello.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yeah. What did you get? Did you finish the question, the workings?
Okay.
Just continue from where I left.
Just hold.
Holding.
It's still 1075.
It's 1075.
Yeah.
Let me also cross check. Yeah. Uh, let me just look for my calculator. Okay, we are saying here to the power becomes to the power 10, then 800 multiplied 1.03 to the power 10 multiplied by 800, 1075, right?
Yes.
13.
Yes.
Okay, that's fantastic.
But now I have a question now. So, is there an advantage in compounding monthly than annually? Because it seems the figures now, there seems to be a slight advantage in compounding monthly than in compounding annually.
Yeah, there is an advantage because you can see these figures. This is lower than
Yes.
this one. So when they
Yes.
remember those firms which deal in chimbados, those guys, the FMCs, etc. I'm just an example, okay? Or the getbacks, etc. Those guys, if they use monthly compounding, they will be killing you because you can see here, if it was compounded annually, it was 10,000, I mean 1,070, but monthly it becomes 1,075. So
Yes.
yeah, so in monthly compounding, they make a lot of money. Are we together?
So, where is the difference actually?
The difference is in
How does it come by?
the number of compounding. When we do monthly, it becomes more, you know, uh, becomes more frequent, and that will be the rate at which you are going to make money. Okay, the intervals
Oh,
where
okay.
they will be increasing the rate of, I mean, the interest, the turnover. You know, saying the amount of money you are going to make because of the frequency of compounding. While this you were supposed to have waited for 1 year to get something. In this case, you are getting it monthly, and the interest is being reinvested on a monthly basis,
Okay.
other than to wait for interest that is going to be compounded after 12 months. In this case, you are compounding it on a monthly basis. So you realize that if we compound this amount in a week, it is going to be larger. In a second, it's going to be
Yes.
increase and so forth. Can you attempt where we are compounding on a daily basis? Can you try? Let us compound this
Yes.
figure on a daily basis using 365 days a year. Are we there?
It's taking me a bit long.
Okay, all right. Let's try to do it together. We are having 365. Okay, should be very simple. You just have to, you know, you need to know x. Okay, x is the compounding, the amount of, or maybe the rate of compounding. All right, like I'm sure you understand what I'm trying to say, right? For example, uh, if we are saying we are compounding daily, then we ask ourselves how many days do we have in a year? We have got 365. Okay, we have got 365 normal years, normal days in a year. Okay, sometimes in a leap year, that's where we have got 366. But if it is just another year, we have got 365 days in a year. Right? So we say we adjust our R by the number of days, right? And that's 0.06 divided by 365. Then we say to the power 5 multiplied by x, and our x is 365. So using our calculator, what do we get? What do we get? Using our calculator here, it becomes 800 multiplied by something here. That says 0.06 divided by 365. And the trouble comes, there are a lot of zeros. There are a lot of zeros. So, so it's got 1.0006438. Okay. At this juncture, you mustn't be tempted to round off the figures, because if you just simply round off, then your answer becomes something else. So you just have to be very patient and continue with what the calculator is showing you. Then you then have to do this the power. There's no space there. The power is how much? There's 5 multiplied by 365. That's to the power 1825. Okay, that's the power there. Then you start to solve the bracket and the power first before you adjust the 800. Okay, because sometimes some calculators, they may end up giving you wrong figures. So that's we say 1.000164,383 to the power 1825. We get 1.34 something, and then you multiply that one by 800. It becomes 1079.86. Then here you can just round off. You can see that we have increased a bit.
Yes.
We have increased from our monthly taking by almost about $4 or so. So the more frequent we are compounding, the more money we get. It's only that the industry in which we are staying, or the market itself, is not that perfect. So to an extent that you can do whatever you want because of market forces or even the laws of the land. The RBZ might prevent you to do those things. But in the general sense, this is how those financial institutions might end up getting more money. So we have covered a lot of things. We've done the issue of compounding, frequent at many intervals, and so forth. So we can actually fly past those areas. Are we together? I used to have got some questions on those areas.
No, I think that's fine. I think it's understood.
And
I think the more the frequency,
the more the money.
the more we gain.
Yes. All right, so let's move on. we talked about these. We talked about these, and okay. Let us. So these are. I just, these ones, you've got those questions there. You just have to practice using that formula which I gave you, because in your notes, there is a lot of, I mean, I don't know which, maybe the type of guys were teaching you, they've got their own way of doing it, but I've realized that students might end up being confused. So if you just use that formula, you can solve this part. Okay, FV is equal to P 1 plus R to the power, over X to the power N X. This is the formula which you can use. These one you may attempt them at your own time, but they are not part of the assignments which I've given you. We have almost done everything there. Okay, you just have to use this formula. Remember this. I can also send you this video if I found out that it has been recorded properly because my computer's got a problem with the sound track, but I can also send you what we are doing now so that you can also appreciate as part of your revision, if it is okay with you.
No, that's fine. That's absolutely fine.
All right. Okay. So we have done that part. Let us talk about these ones. It's also the same. Here, Angela investor also invested 2000 in a fund that pays. Calculate the value of the fund at the end of. So this one is also a future value sort of thing. Okay, this is also a future value sort of thing. So 1 plus R the power, over X the power NX. Can use that formula again. But you may also wonder, why didn't we use this same formula when we were doing the annual compounding? The annual compounding, the X will be 1. Okay, the X will be 1, so it will be R over 1, and it becomes R. You can see that, and the N will be multiplying by 1. So this is the same formula. I'm sure you're not confused.
No, it's fine now. I get it completely.
All right. Yes, I've just decided to elaborate on that one. Okay. Now the issue of discounting. The discounting now. Let us just try the discounting aspect. Okay, let me just say. All right. The discounting aspect here we'll be talking of the PV, and we've got the formula here about the PV. Did we do an example about the PV? I'm sure we didn't. Okay, anyway, PV is what FV over 1 plus R to the power N. To the power N. I'm sure that's the correct formula. Let me just recheck. Yes, that's the formula there for our for PV. But you will do all the adjustments for R will be just the same. Okay, the adjustment for R will just be the same.
Yes.
I'm sure if you just get it like that, you're not going to face any problem. The adjustments for R.
I think I've actually understood it.
Yeah, you understand it, right? Yes, the way we are adjusting R is the same as the way we are going to adjust N. So you're not going to be found wanting in this part. I'm sure you have mastered. Let's move on because there's a lot of things to be talked about. Now let's talk about continuous compounding. If interest is compounded continuously, that is instantaneously, the compound factor uses the exponential function E. The E. Sometimes in other calculators it's EX. You have seen that, isn't it?
Okay.
All right. The inverse of the natural logarithm, that's its technical name. This EX is the inverse of the natural log. Okay. The compounding factor is continuous compounding factor is equal to e to the power interest and number of years. So it's like e compounding factor is equal to e to the power r n, e to the power r n. If interest rate is 10% continuously compounded, the compound year is e to the power 0.10, okay, which is equal to e to the power 0.10 multiplied by n, and n is 1. This is why we have just written it as to the power 0.10. I'm sure you understand it, isn't it?
Yes, I can get it.
Because continuous compounded for year one, our n is 1, so it becomes this way. Then for year 2 now, it becomes, you have to multiply by 2. You also have to add a 2 here. For year 3, then you have to multiply by 3. For year 4, you multiply by 4, and so on, and so on, and so on. This is what is happening here. But for year 10, for 10 years, it is simplified to e to the power 1, okay, or e1. Why is it so? Because initially it was e to the power 0.10 and n was 10. So 0.10 multiplied by 10, or 10% of 10 is 1. So this is why they are saying it becomes e to the power 1. Are we together? But don't be tempted to get so tired in the exam that you just say e to the power 1 is equal to 1. It doesn't work like that. This is an inverse exponential function. So it becomes something else. Can you please try to punch in your calculator and tell me which figure have you found for e to the power 1? Hello? Hello? Are you there? Or I'm now alone in the class? I'm now alone. USB.
Sorry, Jerry. I've just lost you.
It's okay. Okay, let me just finish the recording. I'll send you the link and then you just listen to it on your own. Is that okay?
It's fine. Then also send my assignment because I think that's the only way I can practice.
It's okay. I'm going to send you the assignment. Let me just finish the video and then I'll send you the link to the video. Then you do it on your own. Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot, Jerry.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. There we are. Okay. In the exam, you may be asked by the examiners to determine the rate of interest which has been used in the computation, or which should be used. So at this juncture, we're going to discuss how you have to come up with this unknown rate. Okay, this unknown R. Just a minute. Okay. Okay. Suppose you have $1,000 to invest today, and in 5 years you would like the investment to be worth $2,000. What rate of interest would satisfy your investment objective? All right, you have $1,000 to invest in 5 years. So you need to determine your future value as well as your present value. All right, and given the information there, I mean here you can easily determine that your 1,000 today should be your present value, and then the future amount you expect to get should be your future value, that is the $2,000. But we know very well so far that future value is equal to PV 1 plus R to the power n. We know that one. We have done that. We have talked about it. Okay. So given that, we just have to slot the figures from the question into the equation. So our future value is $2,000. So we say 2,000 is equal to 1,000 multiplied by 1 plus R. Our R is our R is the figure which we want to determine. Okay, this R is unknown, but we know that this investment is to be there, or is to be done over a 5-year period. So that's 5 years. That's 5 there. All right. So we just assume that the compounding is going to be done annually. All right. So we just assume that the compounding is done annually to make our job very easy. So let's make R subject of the formula. All right. So let's come up with the ratio where we say that 2,000 over 1,000 is equal to 1 plus R bracket to the power 5. Okay. Then if we just cut off all these zeros, we can see that 2 is equal to 1 plus R to the power 5. Now, how can we break down this fraction into its consumable state? We need to take the root of 5, okay, the fifth root from both sides. Okay, let's take the fifth root from both sides. How can we do this? It's either just use this method. All right, can just use this method, that is 2 to the power 1 over 5. 2 to the power 1 over 5 is equal to 1 plus R. 1 plus R to the power 5 multiplied by 1 over 5. So you can see that the power of 5 has been removed that side, so we are left with 2 to the power 1 over 5 is equal to 1 plus R. Okay, and you can say 2 to the power 1 over 5 is equal to, minus, okay, minus 1 is equal to R. So 2 to the power minus 5 is how much? 2 to the power 1 over 5 to the power 50 to the power 50 to the power 50, or 2 to the power 1 over 5. That's 1 point. This gives us here. Let me just write here 1.148698355 minus 1 is got R. Therefore, R is equal to 0.1487. Just have to round off to at least for decimal places. It's fine. So this is our R. That's how you have to go about it. Okay. Can also determine this rate through this example. Suppose you borrow 1,000 with terms that you will repay in a lump sum of 1,750 at the end of 3 years. You can see that if you are told that this another amount is going to be obtained or is going to come into shape or come into existence after a certain future period, then automatically that becomes the FV. In this case, 1,750, that's the future value. And then today, what you can do today that represents the PV, the present value, the 1,000. You can borrow. Suppose you borrow 1,000. So that's an issue of today. So the 1,000 is the present value, and at the end of 3 years, N is 3. Okay, what is the effective interest rate on this loan? You can use the method which we did use in the previous example. So that's future value divided by present value multiplied by the to the power 1/3. Remember, 1/3 represents our this. Okay, it represents this area where we say that the fifth root. Okay, remember we wanted to remove the 3 here, the n here. To remove the n, you just have to multiply by its inverse. Okay, so the inverse here for the 3 year period is 1/3, right? So this is just a simplification of what you do. You can just do it in the longer way by just saying 1,750. For us to understand it, 1,750 is equal to 1,000, 1 plus r to the power 3. Okay, 1 plus r to the power 3. Then it becomes 1,750 over 1,000. Okay, this is where we are, 1,000, which is equal to 1 plus r to the power 3. And once 1,750 over 1,000 comes to 1.750 is equal to 1 plus r to the power 3. Then 1.750 to the power third is equal to 1 plus r. Okay, because we've removed the 3. Okay, then we solve here, or we can just do 1.750 to the power 3 minus 1, because to take out this one from this side, we just have to separate 1 and separate 1 on that side again. So we are left with r. And then we just use our calculator. That's 1.750 to the power third. That's 1.20507 minus 1. We're left with 20.51 is called R. And remember, these rates are in percentages. So they come to 20.51%. This is in percentage. Okay, I hope this part has been covered well. Let us go then to present values, value tables, or financial tables. And but before we go here, there was also a financial table which we did not mention here, the compound interest table. But I just want to mention a bit about. You may also have to use the compound interest table in the exam. Sometimes you may be given those tables, and you have to know how to use them. You can download free tables. They are available online. Okay, you can just go at just Google compound interest or compound factor tables. Okay, compound factor tables. All right. Let me just try. You can just go to https:/online library wiley.com. There you can get those tables for free online. Okay, that's https://online library.wiley.com. Okay, and this is an example of a compound interest table. Compound interest tables. All right. So to use them, it's very easy. Okay. Let us just go back to our question here. All right. Let's say in your computation, okay, you have reached a point where you have to find the rate. Okay, like in our calculation, if we come back to our calculations here at this level in your computations, okay, this is the same level here. All right. You've discovered that 2 is now your compound factor. Okay, 2 is now a compound factor. So to determine the rate, you can just use the compound interest table. So you go straight to your compound interest tables and ask them, hey table, can you please show me the rate? Okay, so here's the table. Okay, now these are the periods. Okay, these are the periods. Our n are found here. Okay, and the compound factors are here. All these figures, these are factors. Sorry. These compound amount factor, these figures. Okay, these are, if it is a single payment, but if it is a uniform payment, then the compound factor is this one. These figures. Okay, these are the compound factors. So in our case, we're going to use the compound factor for the single payment. Okay. Okay. We're going to use the single payment compound tables because the question is saying, suppose you have 1,000 to invest, and in 5 years you would like the investment to be worth 2,000. So this is actually synonymous to a single payment investment. All right, this is a single payment investment. So using the tables, we have got certain information. Remember, we are deriving the information from this equation there. 2 is equal to 1 plus r or 5 n. We have got information about the compound factor, which is 2, and also the n factor, the n, which is 5. All right. So our answer should actually come from these two figures, the compound factor itself and the n. So if we go to our table, these are our n, okay, and our 2, we have to look for a 2, okay, around, and I said let us use this first column. All right, so you can see our n is 5, so, and the compound factor should be close enough to 2 as possible. It should be close enough to 2 as possible. You can see this one is not close to 2, and the rate here is 0.25%. 0.25%. So 0.25% is not going to be our interest rate, because it is not nearer to 2. We have to be guided by the 2. Okay, the compound factor should be close to 2, should be as close enough to 2 as possible. So at 50%, at 0.50%, we are again very far from 2. So we have to move. Let us just scroll down. At 0.75, are we nearer to 2? No, we are not. So let us rush. Let us at least skip more pages there. Okay, and are we almost? We are not yet. We are not yet. And where are we now? At 4%. And at figure 5, are we there? We are not yet. So let us cruise. And it seems at 20%. At 20%, are we there? Oh, we have skipped a lot. Okay, so here we are now above 2 points. We are far above, so we have to go back. We have to go back at least to something at 14%. This is 14%. Wow, so we are almost there. So let us just check at 15% to see. That's at 15%, they are saying something. At 15%, this is 15%. So at 15%, we are almost at 2. So you can see that at 50%, we are 2.011. Then at 14%, we are where? At 14%, we are 1.92. So you can see that at 15%, that's better now. That's a better rate. That is going to give us the amount of compound factor which we need, the interest which we need. So we can safely say that our interest factor should be, our interest rate should be 15%. So the interest rate should be 15%. I'm sure that you have been helped, and the mathematical computations, we've done them, and you can safely do them. All right, I just wanted to explain on those compound interest tables. Let us move on to the business of the day. Then present value tables. Of course, there is a formula which we have been using so far, but there are also tables which we need to know. All right. What's going on with these things? Okay. I'm sorry, this computer of mine started to give me a lot of trouble. Sorry, I'm sorry. Okay, now on present value tables, the issue is just similar to what we've just talked or explained in the compound interest table. For present value, we know the formula for PV. Okay, PV is equal to future value over 1 plus R to the power n. We know that. But we can use the tables. Now, using tables, calculate the present value of 8640 at year 3 if interest rates are 20% per annum. So, looking at the present value tables, look along the row n is equal to 3, that is year 3, and down column R, which is equal to 20%. Interest rates are 20% per annum. The required discount rate should be 0.579. So C overleaf. The present value of 8640 at year 3 when interest rates are 20% is therefore 8640 multiplied by 0.579, which is equal to this one. All right, we can also use this formula there where we are saying that 8640 over 1.20 to the power in this case 3. We should get the same value if we use this formula there to determine the PV. And let us just try before we go to the tables. That's 8640 divided by 1.2 to the power 3. We get 5,000, which is a bit slightly different from this one. Okay, but let us determine the value we get from the tables is this one. Remember, this when they create these tables, they do some rounding. Okay, they do some rounding. So let us go straight to the table. We are given the important figures here: 3 years at 20% using the present value. So this is the present value, ladies and gentlemen. The present value table, and remember, present value of $1, that is 1 plus r to the power minus n. Okay, 1 plus r to the power minus n is the same as 1 over 1 plus r. Okay, 1 over 1 plus r to the power n. Are we together? Yes, that's the thing. So it's just the same formula which we have been talking about. All right. So in this case, we're given 3 years, 20%, 3 years, 20%. So we go, these are the percentages. Okay, these are the percentages. So the present value factor which we need should be here. 3 years, 20%. That's if we just go across up to 20, so that's 0.579. So we are going to use 0.579, and this is why it is here. So then you have to multiply this and you get this amount. But like I said, mathematically this is the way to go, but using the tables, this is the way to go. Okay, you can also try this example. Today's date is 3rd April 2023. If the one wishes to have 1,600 saved by 3rd April 2023, how much should we invest? So this is the future value. Okay, this is the FV, the future value which he expects to get in 2028. But how much shall he put in his bank as part of the investment? So you can see that the PV is required in this case. My pen. PV is equal to FV, which is 16,000 divided by 1 plus R. 1 plus R, and our R is given as 5%, so 0.05 to the power how much? How many years? From 20x 3 to 20x 8, that's 5 years. Okay, that's how you can do it. But let us determine this figure 1 plus 0.05 to the power 5 from the tables. At 5%, 5 years, 5%, 5 years, we should get something like this. So that's 0.784, and this is the figure here. Okay, and you just have to solve whether mathematically, or you can just go this way. That's 16,000 over this figure. How much is that? 1.05 to the power 1.05 to the power 5, 1.2, okay, 1.2, 1.276, 1.276, okay, 1.7. So 16,000 divided by 1.276, that's this gives us 12,539, and this is because of the rounding, as we have explained before. But you can see that these figures are almost the same. These figures are almost the same. So mathematically, you then have to divide 16,000 divided by 1.276, or using the tables, then you have to multiply by the discount factor of 0.784. Okay, you have to multiply 60,000 by 0.784. All right, but can this 0.784 be found mathematically? Yes, we can find this mathematically by using this figure here. This 0.784 is equal to 1 over 1.276. This, just use your calculator and find out and prove that 1 over 1.276 is equal to 0.784. That's 1 over 1.276. 0.784, which has been proven. So this is how. So when you are going mathematically, make sure you have to divide this figure, I mean the FV, divided by 1 plus R to the power n. But when you are going using the tables now, you have to multiply by the discount factor. You have to multiply by the discount factor. Are we together, ladies and gentlemen? Okay, done. Okay, there is an issue there when it comes to annuities. An annuity is a constant sum of money received or paid each year for a given number of years. All right, and for your homework, I want you to define what is an ordinary annuity. Ordinary annuity, okay, so as an annuity due. Okay, this one, please, I want you to just read around this area. Okay, just read around this area. I'm going to skip it. I'll also have to send you the notes for those ones. Don't worry. Okay, there's also what is called a perpetuity, which is an annuity which lasts forever. Sometimes the perpetuity is constant, where its present value is equal to cash flow over the discount rate. The cash flow over discount rate. For example, you are going to receive $200 per year forever. Okay, so and the rate of interest is 5%. So the PV of your annuity is 200 over R, which is about 200 over 0.05, and that's more money. 200 divided by 0.05, that's 4,000. So it is worth $4,000 in present value terms. Okay, but you may realize that these 200 might be increasing. Let's say it is increasing, let's say it's 5% per year. Okay, so if it is increasing, the PV of growing perpetuity is equal to D over, sometimes they say D1 over R minus G, usually for dividends. Okay, so D1 over R minus G. So this one, let's say the growth rate has been 3%. Let's say G is equal to 3% and RS2 is 25%. So it means that it will be 200. Okay, multiply this 200 multiplied by the rate. D1 is equal to, remember D1 is equal to D plus D multiplied by 1 plus R. D1 plus R. Okay, D is equal to, D1 is equal to D1 plus R. So not R, but G, 1 plus G. Okay, D1 plus G, the growth rate. So in this case, the growth rate, we said that G is equal to 3%. So that's 200 multiplied by 1.03 is equal to, the R is 5%, as usual, 0.05 minus 0.03, which is equal to 200 multiplied by 1.03, okay, which is about 206. That's 206 divided by 0.02. This gives 10,300. 10,300. Okay, so expected D1 PV of growing perpetuity is equal to D over R minus G, where D is equal to expected cash flow in year one. We are saying that the perpetuity is increasing every year by 5%. So if it is 200 today, we are saying at the end of year one it becomes 206. That's 200 multiplied by 1.03. Okay, and it becomes 206 divided by R minus G, which is 0.05 minus 0.03, and it becomes 0.02. And we do the mathematics. 206 divided by 0.02, and it becomes 10,300. That's how we do it. Okay, let's move on. We also have got what are called annuity tables. Now, calculate the present value of a 3-year annuity of $100, which begins in 1 year's time when interest rates are 5%. So we've got this cash flow here, where we are saying that every year, this is an annuity where you are receiving 100 every year. So we can either use, because PV is about discounting, we can use the mathematical way. Okay, can use the mathematical way by determining these values mathematically. The PVs, these PVs can be found mathematically. Okay, can be found mathematically. For example, for year one, that's for you to find this value, you just have to say 1 over 1 plus r to the power n, which is equal to 1 over 1 point, the rate is 5%, so 1.05, okay, to the power n, and n in year one is 1. So if you use your calculator, you're going to find this value, 0.952. Similarly, if you want to find this value, you just have to put a 2 here. This one, you put a 3, and you obtain these values. It's very simple. After you get those values, you then have to determine the PVs, which are found by this value multiplied by this one, and you get this one. This one multiplied by this one, you get this one. This one multiplied by this one, you get this one. After that, you then have to add these PVs to come to this total PV. But when you add these values, you get what is called an annuity factor. If you add these discounting factors, you get the annuity factor. And in this case, this is for 3 years. But we can use tables. Okay, we can use tables. All right. So the purpose of this annuity factor is you can just use it straight away to find the PV, to find this figure. You can just say annuity factor multiplied by the principal amount, the principal. And the principal was $100. So annuity factor 2.723 multiplied by 100, we can come to this value. Okay, but let us use the table to find this annuity factor. So the figures which we need, or the information which you need, the rate, okay, the rate and the n, rate and n. So annuity table is this way. These are the annuity table. The rate in this case is 5%. Let me just cross check. The rate is 5%. So if the rate is 5%, our job has been made easier. So we go to 5%, 3 years. So this is the value which we need. 2723. 2723. So that's the value which we need, and we have found it, 2723. This is the value. And like I said, annuities are constant payments per year. Okay, annually we just receive those amounts. So the PV of an annuity is equal to annuity multiplied by annuity factor. We've talked about this. It's fine. Now, this is an example of an annuity, of a perpetuity. And like I said, a perpetuity is just a constant sum to be received forever. It doesn't stop. Okay? Just receive the amount forever. So it is an annuity without an end. It's an annuity, but without an end. Okay? So Praline is to receive 35,000 per annum. Every year she receives 35,000 in perpetuity, which means forever. If the annual rate of interest is 9%, so you can see that the value of this perpetuity is 35,000 divided by 0.1, and Shula, you pass. Okay, are there other issues here? Now let's talk about growth mathematics. Okay, what do we have to say here? This is what is called geometric mean. geometric mean. There are certain situations in which the traditional arithmetic mean is unsuitable. When you're talking of traditional arithmetic, this is the simple average we are talking about, where we are saying that if, let's say, our growth rate, okay, or let's say we have been realizing a growth rate of, let's say, in year one, but yeah, 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, from 0 to 1 there's been some 2%. Okay, from 1 to 2 there's been some 5% growth, and in year 3 there's been some 7% growth. Using simple average or arithmetic, an arithmetic average will say 2 plus 5 plus 7 over 3, and this gives us something like 14 over 3, which is equal to 14 over 3, that's 4.67% is the average growth rate. This, the financial gurus, they say that this is not actually good, okay, not suitable for managerial decision making. Okay, so we need to determine a more precise average for decision making. So this is how the geometric mean comes into play, because it takes into account the compounding effect. Okay, it embodies some compounding effect. All right. So these are the examples where this geometric mean is usually necessary. Okay, we discuss about percentage salary increases, GDP or economic growth rate over time, and then inflation and or price increases over time. Over time. This is a typo. Over time, not overtime as in working extra hours, but over time as over a certain period. Okay, then the geometric average or geometric mean is calculated as geometric average rate is equal to 1 plus R1 multiplied by 1 plus R2, and then that's the formula which we have to use, that is 1 plus I n to the power 1 over n minus 1, right, the power 1 over n minus 1. So that's the formula which we have to use. So using that formula, can we calculate the geometric mean? I can give you just 2 minutes to do the computation. Just 2 minutes to do the computation so that we do together. You can just pause the video and do the computation. Okay, I'm sure you used all your effort to come up with the answers to this particular example, but let us do together now so that you cross-check what you've done. All right, for the arithmetic mean, I've just explained. Arithmetic mean is very simple. You just have to say 7% plus 9% plus 15% plus bracket minus 4% plus 3%. Then you have to divide by the total number of variables available or of items available, and then you get your average. That's arithmetic mean. 7 plus 9 plus 15 minus 4 plus 3. That's 30. Okay, so that's 30 over 5, and you get your 6%. But this is not really appealing or useful to financial managers. They want to have the compounding effect incorporated in the computation. So you just have to say, let us just rub it off here. Just use our formula there. Okay. Formula. Geometric mini. Geometric. Is equal to it's given here. Okay. 1 plus R1 plus 1 plus R2 and so forth. So these R1s, R2s, R3s, R4s, these are the interest, the growth rate that has been witnessed, okay, in each particular year. All right. So, and one more thing, there is this to the power 1 over n. To the power 1 over n might also be represented in the form of a square root. Okay, if there are 3 years, then you have to come up with a cube root. If there are 2 years, just come up with a square root. Okay, and so forth. All right. All right, let me just elaborate what I'm trying to say here. In this case, in our example, we're talking of how many years here? We're talking of 5 years. So the geometric mean can be represented as root 5. Okay. Okay. Or fifth root. All right. And then we'll do our computation. This is 1 plus the rate 7%. That is 0.07. Okay. And then what does the formula say? Multiply by the rate 1 plus 0.09. Okay. Yes. Correct. Okay. Just represent this formula here. Okay. You can put an n here. Then we say 1 plus R1, 1 plus R2, 1 plus Rn. Okay. Then minus 1. There should be some minus 1 at the end there. According to the formula, yes, there should be some minus 1 at the end. Okay. And remember, this stands here. The minus 1 is not under the square root. It's not under the root. Okay, so there should be some minus 1 here. Fine. These are how many figures? There are 5. So let us continue. 1 plus 0.15, 1 minus 0.04, and 1 plus 0.03, which is equal to fifth roots. That is 1. Let us now do the computations. Let's start with the information within the root. 1 plus, you can just try to simplify 1.07. Okay, 1.09 was 1 plus 0.09, that's 1.09. Then 1 plus 0.15. I don't like that. Let's just delete it. 1. Okay. That's exertion. The works of being tired now. Okay, let me just finish. And here 1 minus 0.04, that might that must give us something like how much? 0.96, I guess. 0.96. Let me confirm. Yeah, here 1.03 or minus 1. Okay, then this makes our job easier. That's root 5. Root 5. Okay, so that's, let us now multiply these figures. 1.07 multiplied by 1.09 multiplied by 1.15 multiplied by 0.96 multiplied by 1.03. We get 1.3262230564 minus 1. Okay, so we can punch this using our calculator. Okay, we can do this using our calculator, where we just say second function root. So I'm using a sharp DAL. Okay, so if you go to your second function, don't know what's going on there. Okay, root 5, right. Okay, you can just first punch in the 5 and then you go to second function and you click the root x, the x root, okay, and brackets, just put your brackets there. That's 1.3226223056 and get 1.058. Okay, 1.058 point something. Okay, let me just write it. 1.058091717 minus 1, and this gives 0.058. Okay, which is generally 5.8%. This is more realistic, although it is closer to the amount we found using the the arithmetic mean, but this one is more linked to the performance of the salaries. Okay, it is more because there is some compounding in it and so forth. Okay, so perhaps this is the reason you might justify the use of the geometric mean. Why it is mostly preferable. It is because it gives more information about the compounding. It takes compounding into effect in its computations. All right. Now, how many periods should the compounding be put into place, or how often shall we compound? For how many periods are we going to compound or to do the compounding before we reach a certain amount? Okay, suppose that you place 1,000 in a savings account that pays 10% compounded interest per year, or compounded interest per year. How long would it take for that savings account balance to reach 5 grand? In this case, we know the present value, which is P, okay, because it is today. Suppose that you place, this is today, so obviously this becomes our PV, okay, and we are expecting to get or to have that amount reach 5,000 at a certain time in the future. So this one, the 5,000 is our FV. Okay. In this case, we know the present value 1,000, future value 5,000, and the interest rate is 10% per year. What we need to determine is the number of compound periods. So let us start with the basic valuation equation and insert the known values. In this case, we say that FV is equal to P1 plus R to the power N. This is N. Okay. This is a power there. Okay. So in our equation here, we know that FV is 5,000. So that's 5,000 is equal to 1,000 and 1 plus R. We don't know this R. I mean, we know the R, but we don't know the N. So 0.10, okay, to the power N. Then we do the mathematics, okay, and we are at this level. Fine. We can then rearrange, okay, can just rearrange so that the N can be on the left side. Most people are used to that, right? Most people are used to that, but we can just do that after doing the first things first. So we can just divide both sides by 1,000 so that we eliminate the 1,000 there. So we are left with 5 is equal to 1 plus 0.10. That one can come to 1.10 to the power N. Okay, 1.10 to the power N. Now, when we have this, we can then use the logarithms usually to remove this root, this power. Okay, to remove this power, we can use the logarithms. Okay, and how can we do that? All right. To do, let me just rewrite the equation. Okay, the equation is 5 is equal to 1.10. 1.10, okay, 1.10 to the power N. And I say that to remove this, we just have to use the logarithm functions on our calculators. So we can then say ln 5, okay, becomes ln 5 is now equal to ln 1.1 or 1.10, ln 1.1. Okay, ln 1.1 N, but the N you can write it down. It's no longer a power now. It is something, so you can just put it here N. Okay, it is no longer to the power N because we've removed the power. So it has now come down. All right, it has now come down. So ln 5 is equal to N ln 1.1. Right. So how can we make N subject of the formula? All right. We can substitute the values for natural logs. Natural log, ln simply means natural log, okay, of 5 and 1.1. So we can find these values, the values of ln 5 and the value of ln 1.1 from our calculators. So to ensure that N is going to be left alone. So ln 5 is how much? From the calculator, ln 5, Lean 5 is equal to 1.609. Okay, 1.609444 is equal to n lean 1.0. What is lean 1.0? Lean 1.1 is equal to 0.95. 0.0953 953. Okay, so it's very simple now to bring to make n subject to the formula. You can just say n is equal to 1.60944 divided by 0.0953, which is equal to, let's use our calculator to see those values. 53, and they come to 16.8881 and you can round them up to 17. This is the same value as this one. So the number of periods of compounding, we need 17 years. So you need 17 years to turn your 1,000 into 5,000 bucks at the rate of 10%. It has to be compounded for 17 times. So it depends on the nature of the market and your wishes. Okay, your wishes should be considered. Your investment objectives should be considered. Are you going to wait for 17 years until your 1,000 becomes 5,000 in 17 years, which is a lifetime? Now, let us talk about these compounding periods further. Okay. Lean FV minus lean PV is equal to N lean 1 plus R. This has been just, taken from this. Just what we have just discussed here, right? This we've just discussed there. So we need not to worry much. Okay, just the issue which we have just discussed. Suppose that the present value of an investment is 100. Okay, it's $100, and you wish to determine how long it will take for the investment to double in value if the investment earns 6% per year, compounded annually. So you want this to double in value. So when 100 is doubled, it becomes 100 multiplied by 2, which comes to 200. So this is why we have the 200 here, because we are given this question. We talked about it, where we say n is what lean future value minus lean present value. I'm sure we did in our calculations here. We did in our calculations here. Okay, the lean this, lean this. This is what we just did. Okay, this is what we just did. We started with the FV is equal to PV, and we say that 5,000 is equal to 1,000, 1 plus 0.1 to the power n. Okay, and we say let us remove this the PV, and let's remove the 1,000 the PV by dividing 1,000 in both sides, and we eliminate it. But it's just the same thing. This is the formula here is just the same thing as we did, but they want you for the purpose of just For you not to forget what is going on, you can just use the formula before you do all those calculations which we did. You just have to use this formula. You can just do the workings as soon as possible. But in this case, we want our future value to double. So we just use the value for the double, that is 200, ln 200 minus the present value today, which is ln 100. All right. All divided by ln 1 plus 0.06, which is the rate, this one. And we get this, and you can see that the period required is 12 years. Right. I'm sure we understood one another. We can also try this formula using the previous data. In our previous example, the future value was how much? The future value was 5,000. Okay. The future value FV was 5,000. Okay. Minus 1,000, which was the present value. Right. So ln 5,000, ln 1,000, all divided by ln 1.1, because our R was 10%. So let's try. This is just a trial to ensure if we are on the right track. Okay, so we are saying ln 5,000 minus ln 1,000, close bracket, all divided by ln 1.1, that's 16.8, which is, again is equal to 17. So you can see that this formula is just a simplification of the whole work for you not, to avoid all the rambling. You can just go straight to this formula and to get whatever you need. Okay, and period required to double investment. Again, another example of compounding. In this case, the N, right? How long does it take to double your money if the interest rate is 5% compounded annually? Okay, we've got our PV or FV. You can also do the same using the ln FV minus ln PV, or over ln 1 plus R. Okay, for you to determine N. So it's so simple. This is the end, and I hope you've been helped. And if you want to get in touch with us, these are our credentials here. You can also get in touch with us there, or let me just write the number. It is on WhatsApp, +263 774 596 368, or you can just visit this glorious schools website at https Transcaio Consulting. It's just one way to Transcaio Consulting co.zw. Okay, the website is also here. You can just zoom out. Let me just zoom out for you so that you see clearly. That's the website, our website. Okay, and it should be yours too. This is the website Okay, I hope you have been helped, and I'm looking forward to have you uh, in class in the shortest possible time. We also teach the following qualifications. Okay, we teach on top of doing accounting and finance assignments for you or lectureship. We also do the ACA qualification, all the modules, ICSAS, which is now called CGP, Corporate Governance Professional Accounting Qualification. Okay, all right. We teach those, and we are there to help you 24/7, any time of the week, any day. We can teach you anywhere, wherever you are. Please, we are ready to teach you around. Now, please, after listening to this video, I want you to do the assignments. Okay, the assignments, but the assignments are only sent to registered students, and those they are the ones who are going to receive the feedback. So for you to benefit a lot, you just have to need these notes as well as to do the assignments so that you benefit, so that you are not going to be left behind. Well, there are almost about 15 exam structured questions which can assist you to pass distinctively in your finance studies, whether you're doing the advanced financial management or financial management. You're doing the CGPA qualification. They also have got the corporate finance, and even if you are at university, we are here to help you pass your finance and accounting studies. We are here, even the management aspect, even also the research methodology. We are renowned academics. We can teach you, we can take you through the whole process, or even help you to come up with sound research projects with just our mentorship. Okay, we don't write projects for you, but we just help you to come up with solid ideas for you to present something that is consumable at global markets of knowledge. Okay, we are talking of markets of knowledge, something that can end up being published in renowned academic journals or scientific journals. I hope you have been helped a lot with this presentation, and I'm looking forward to see you in our next lecture. Okay, where we'll be touching about risk and return. Okay, we're going to jump into risk and return so that we are going to be helped. And in risk and return, we're going to add some of the things so that we cover a lot of ground given the time period, which is very tight. Thank you very much. Until we meet again, may the good Lord bless you.